He was crying, not because he lost money, because he didn't. It was his first time risking real capital after a year of flawless demo trades. And the moment the candle turned red, his hands started shaking. His chest clenched, his vision blurred. He closed the trade for a $6 loss. Then he collapsed into tears. Not from the money, from the betrayal. 12 months of perfect entries, picture-perfect setups, discipline, risk, reward, all gone. The second real money touched the chart. Because here's the truth no guru tells you. Demo trading isn't about strategy. It's about psychology. And if you treat it like a video game, the market will treat you like a victim. But if you train it like a fighter trains in a dojo, obsessively, deliberately, emotionally, demo trading becomes the most powerful psychological tool in the trader's arsenal. Because in the dojo, you don't just throw punches. You bleed so you don't die in war. This video isn't about how to paper trade. It's about how to suffer well in simulation so you don't suffer when it counts. And the 20 shifts you're about to learn, they rewire my brain, save my career, and turn fake trades into real discipline. Let's begin. Most people treat demo trading like a sandbox, a playground, a joke. They say it's not real money, so it doesn't count. And that mindset is exactly why they never make it. Because if you wait for real money to take your practice seriously, your account will bleed faster than your brain can adjust. This channel isn't for that 95%. This is Disciplined Trades, where we rewire your brain before you touch the button. Where trading isn't about alerts, hype, or hot stocks. It's about becoming the kind of person who can sit with discomfort, outweigh chaos, and act with clarity when others crumble. Today, you're going to learn why fake trades reveal your deepest habits, how to reframe simulation as emotional stress testing, the science behind how muscle memory builds decision strength, 20 psychological drills to weaponize your demo phase. But most importantly, you'll see why the pros don't treat demo as practice. They treat it like rehearsal for war. Stay to the end because chapter 18, that one made me puke the first time I did it. And it's the reason I now trade calmly when $5,000 is on the line. Now, quick CTA before you go deeper. Comment below with your longest demo streak. Was it 1 day, 1 week, 3 months? No judgment, just honesty. Let's build from there. Let's step inside the dojo. Chapter 1, your brain doesn't know it's fake. He sat at his desk, demo account open, not a single dollar at risk. And yet, his heart was pounding like he was about to jump out of a plane. Why? Because the chart started to move against him. Not by much, just a few ticks. But his body didn't know the difference. His shoulders tensed, his breathing quickened, his palms turned slick with sweat. This wasn't about losing money. This was biology. Here's the twist no one tells you. Your brain doesn't care whether the trade is real or fake. The part of your brain responsible for reacting to risk, the limbic system, doesn't wait for confirmation from your broker. It doesn't care about your account type. It sees threat and it fires off a full-blown stress response. Cortisol spikes, heart rate elevates, decision-making shuts down, all because a candlestick turned red. Stanford researchers found that the brain's amygdala, the center for fear and emotional memory, activates just as strongly from anticipated losses as from actual financial ones. So when you treat demo like a joke, you're not saving your mental capital. You're wasting the most powerful simulation environment available to you. Because here's the opportunity. If your brain thinks it's real, you can use that illusion to build discipline, resilience, emotional control, all without risking a dime. But only if you take it seriously. Only if you act like the money matters. That means journaling every trade. That means logging emotional spikes. That means treating demo like it's live until your nervous system doesn't know the difference. Traders who do this rewire their decision-making under pressure. They build habits that don't collapse the moment real money enters the equation. They show up to their first real trade like warriors, not tourists. Action step. Before every demo trade this week, rate your emotional intensity on a scale from 1 to 10. Before the trade, during the trade, after the trade. Track how your nervous system responds. Journal what triggered each spike. At the end of the week, review the data. Are you reacting like it's real? If not, adjust the simulation conditions. This one exercise will teach you more about your trading mind than any indicator ever could. Chapter 2. Stop tracking P&L. Track emotional accuracy. Imagine a trader up 7R on their demo account this week. They screenshot the chart, post it in Discord, and start fantasizing about how this strategy would have made them $3,500 in a real account. Sounds motivating, right? Wrong. It's a trap. Because that P&L isn't just fake, it's toxic to your growth. Here's why. When you let profit define your performance in demo, you train your brain to chase outcomes instead of mastering process. It teaches you to feel good when trades go your way and miserable when they don't, even if you follow your rules. That's not trading discipline. That's gambling dopamine. And when you go live, this habit backfires fast. You'll start breaking rules just to win. You'll override stops because you believe. You'll add size because you felt good yesterday. Because all demo did was build a scoreboard, not a system. Pros don't care about demo profit. They care about execution integrity. They track, did I follow my edge without deviation? Did I skip any pre-trade checks? Did emotions alter my decisions? Did I exit as planned or from fear? These are the real performance metrics. This is the foundation that carries over when the money gets real. Here's the key. In demo, you're not building a track record. You're building emotional pattern recognition. Every hesitation, every moment of doubt, every impulse entry is a thread. When tracked, those threads reveal the wiring underneath, and that wiring determines whether you'll survive a real drawdown. Action step. Replace your current demo journal with a 2-tier log. Tier 1, execution, entry plan. Did I follow it? Yes or no? Any rule violations? What? Why? Tier 2, emotional accuracy. Pre-trade feelings scale 1 to 10. Post-trade emotion. Guilt, pride, doubt, etc. Emotional trigger notes such as the news, candle color, etc. At the end of the week, don't total profits, total emotional misfires. How many trades were clean? How many felt rushed, reactive, or emotionally charged? Then track your trend. Are you becoming less impulsive, more stable, less outcome attached? That's your real equity curve. And if you master that in demo, profit will follow. Not by luck, by design. Chapter 3. Emotional reps. Chart time. Forget the myth of 10,000 hours. Trading isn't about time on screen, it's about time under pressure. You can stare at charts all day and still panic when your trade turns red. Because watching doesn't train action, the edge lives in execution, and execution collapses under emotion. That's why demo is more than a backtest tool. It's an emotional gym. Each trade is a rep. And the real goal? To lift heavier emotions with better form. Here's what that looks like. You enter a setup you've studied 100 times. It looks perfect. Clean breakout. Volume surge. Tight stop. But as soon as you click buy, your brain floods with what ifs. What if it reverses? What if I missed something? What if this one ruins my streak? This is where emotional reps begin. Your task isn't just to win the trade. It's to sit inside that discomfort and not flinch. To watch the candle dance near your stop without tightening it. To ignore the urge to close early out of fear. To observe the inner storm and do nothing. That's the rep. That's the muscle. The more you do it, the stronger you become. Not just in skill, in identity. You stop being the panicked amateur. You start becoming the composed executor. And demo gives you unlimited reps without consequence. No capital burned, just clarity gained. Action step. Create a rep log. Each trade, score yourself 1 to 10 on 3 criteria. Emotional stability. Did I feel calm? Rule adherence. Did I follow my plan? Impulse control. Did I override anything? Forget the result, just score the rep. At the end of 50 trades, calculate your emotional average. If you're under 7, good. That means you're catching the right data. Now, train harder. Because when your emotional form is flawless in demo, it transfers clean to live. And that's when the real game begins. Chapter 4. Simulate pressure on purpose. Most traders wait for pressure to strike. They act like it's some spontaneous event, as if stress only shows up on red days or during earnings. But pressure isn't random. It's predictable. And that means you can train for it on purpose. Think about elite athletes. UFC fighters don't just spar. They simulate full intensity rounds. Navy SEALs rehearse missions with real explosions and time pressure. Even chess grandmasters study while holding their breath to mimic oxygen deprivation during competition. Why? Because stress exposure builds resistance. Traders should do the same. Demo trading isn't just about clean setups and ideal conditions. It's about learning how your system and your nervous system perform when things get ugly. Here's what that looks like. Trade during news events. Simulate a late entry situation by forcing yourself to enter within 15 seconds of spotting a setup. Put on headphones and blast chaotic music. Trade while your dog barks or your neighbor drills a wall. Every little disruption is a test. And how you respond, that's your edge in the making. Because real trades won't always happen in silence. You'll miss entries, you'll be tired, the chart will chapter as you blink. And if you've never practiced pressure, you'll collapse when it counts. But if you've simulated it, you'll breathe through the chaos. You'll slow the moment down. You'll respond, not react. Action step. Schedule 3 pressure sessions this week. Trade with a 30-second entry timer. Trade during an economic news release. Trade while standing, with a podcast playing in the background. Log your emotional state during each. Note how your body reacted. Track how your discipline held up. The point isn't to win, it's to learn. You are not simulating perfect conditions. You're training to survive imperfect ones. Because that's what the market will throw at you over and over again. Train for the war, not the brochure. Chapter 5. Reward boredom, not excitement. Ask a pro trader what their favorite setup feels like, and they won't say thrilling, they'll say boring. Because boredom is the reward. It means you've removed the noise. It means the setup is so deeply rehearsed that your brain doesn't spike dopamine anymore. But if your demo trades still feel exciting, that's not a signal of skill. It's a red flag of stimulation seeking. And stimulation is the gateway drug to impulsiveness. Here's the paradox most beginners miss. The more exciting your trading feels, the more likely you're doing something wrong. You're chasing novelty. You're over-trading. You're improvising in real time because you don't want to wait. Excitement masks risk, and if you don't catch it in demo, it'll bankrupt you live. Why does this happen? Because your brain, especially the dopamine system, is designed to pursue uncertainty. It loves what's new, fast, flashy. It rewards you with a neurochemical hit every time you act, especially without thinking. So when your trade feels good, it's often because it satisfies your addiction to action, not your commitment to discipline. That's why boredom is your ally. It's a signal you've eliminated variability. It means your entries are mechanical. Your process is trusted. Your emotions are muted. This is what elite traders live for. The dull beauty of repetition. The peace of seeing a setup and knowing without hesitation exactly what to do. Not because it's exciting, but because it's certain. Action step. After each demo session this week, give every trade an excitement score from 1 to 10. Then journal what made it exciting or boring. Did excitement correlate with rule breaking? Did boredom correlate with precision? By the end of the week, look for patterns. You'll likely find that your best trades were your most forgettable. Celebrate those. Because in trading, boredom isn't failure, it's mastery, disguised as monotony. And if you can learn to love it now, in demo, you'll be unstoppable when it's real. Chapter 6. Trade with micro stakes, but real emotions. You've been demo trading for months. You've journaled, followed rules, logged your mindset, but something still feels off. Then you go live just $100 and boom, sweaty palms. Tunnel vision, emotional sabotage. Why? Because your body knows it's real, and no amount of simulation can fully mimic that shift unless you ease into it. Enter micro stakes. This is the bridge, the zone between fake money and full exposure. It's where you trigger emotional responses without devastating your account. Because here's the secret. Your nervous system doesn't care about how much is on the line. It cares about whether anything is. When even $5 is at risk, your brain shifts from analytical to emotional. Fight or flight wakes up. Impulse tries to take the wheel. This is your chance to build emotional strength with skin in the game, but without the financial damage. Just like athletes lift light before heavy, just like performers rehearse on small stages before arenas, you train your brain under micro pressure before macro risk. Action step. Open a live micro account with $50 to $100. Trade the exact setups you use in demo. Log your emotional reactions in brutal detail. Did fear increase? Did discipline break? Did you hesitate? Journal each trade with an emotional variance score. How different did it feel from demo? Then work to close that gap. The goal isn't profit, it's emotional calibration. Because once your reactions stay the same, whether it's $1 or $1,000, you're ready. Chapter 7. Practice exits, not just entries. Everyone wants the perfect entry. It's the sexy part. The moment you hit buy and feel like a sniper. But here's what separates the amateurs from the pros. Pros obsess over exits. Why? Because exits are where emotions peak. That's where fear, hope, greed, and regret all fight for control of your decision making. Think about it. The moment a trade goes green, fear whispers, take it now before it reverses. The moment it goes red, hope begs, wait, it might come back. The moment it hits target, greed nudges, let it run a little more. And in all three cases, discipline drowns. If you don't train your exits in demo under emotion, not just logic, you'll never execute them cleanly when real money's involved. So stop treating the trade like it ends at entry. That's the start of the test. The real test is, can you follow through? Here's the fix. In demo, before every entry, you must define your exit. Write it down, commit to it, breathe into it. Then when price moves against you or in your favor, you don't think, you just act. That's what execution looks like. Not reacting, not hoping, just doing what you planned when emotions scream to do the opposite. And the best place to hardwire that habit? Demo. Because here, the stakes are fake, but the reactions are real. Action step. For the next 20 demo trades, set stop loss and take profit before entry. Log your temptation to move them during the trade. Track if you honor them exactly or modify based on emotion. Score each trade not by P&L, but by exit integrity. Did you exit because the market said so or because fear did? Did you take profit from plan or from greed? Pattern by pattern, trade by trade. You'll build the most underrated skill in trading, emotional exit discipline. That's where the real money lives. Chapter 8. Build rituals that anchor discipline. Picture this. You sit down to trade. Same chair, same time, same playlist, same breath routine. Your body knows, your brain cues up the trader mode. Not because the chart changed, because you did. That's the power of ritual. Rituals are anchors. They tell your nervous system, now we perform. High-level athletes do this. Pilots do this. Surgeons do this. So why do most traders skip it? Because they treat trading like a game, not a profession. But the pros? They build consistency by design, starting with their body. Here's the science. Repetition of a specific pre-performance routine builds neural association. Your brain starts to link certain movements, songs, smells, or actions with high focus states. It becomes a cue-based system. That means you don't need willpower. You don't need motivation. You need a trigger. And demo is the perfect environment to build it. So whether it's 2 minutes of breath work, writing down your identity statement, sipping the same tea, or lighting the same candle, you're not doing it for the vibe. You're doing it for the neurological trigger. Action step. Build your pre-trade ritual. It should be repeatable, calming, and anchored to focus. Sample: 2 minutes of box breathing, reading my trader identity aloud, playing the same instrumental music, or making a quick recap of yesterday's journal. Do this before every demo session. Make it sacred. Over time, it will become automatic. And when it's live and $5,000 is on the line, you'll slip into a flow, as your body will remember. You're no longer trading from a place of chaos. You're trading from a place of identity. Chapter 9. Journal like a scientist, not a blogger. Let's be honest. Most trading journals are therapy sessions. I felt nervous. I should have held longer. I knew it would work out. That's fine if you're a blogger. But if you're trying to rewire your trading psychology, you need data. You need to track behavior like a neuroscientist, observe patterns like a surgeon, log variables like a lab tech. Because here's the truth. Your memory will lie. Your emotions will distort. But data? It reveals truth brutally and consistently. And your job in demo is to gather the truth about yourself. That means building a journal that answers, when do I trade best? What conditions hurt me? Which setups make me overconfident? What emotions precede impulsive trades? This isn't just review. It's research. You're running controlled psychological experiments. Every trade equals one test case. And after 100 tests, you won't just know your setups, you'll know yourself. Action step. Revamp your demo journal today. Use a spreadsheet, Notion, or app. And make sure to include these columns: date, time, setup type, entry criteria met, yes or no. Exit followed as planned, yes or no. Pre-trade emotion, scale 1 to 10. Post-trade emotion, rule violations, and key lesson, 1 sentence max. Every 20 trades, do a lab review. Which emotions showed up the most? What time of day produced best or worst outcomes? Did certain setups trigger more rule breaking? Now your journal isn't noise, it's signal. You're not documenting your journey, you're diagnosing your edge. This is how pros think. This is how amateurs evolve. And if you build this habit in demo, your live account will never be blind again. Chapter 10. Trade the boring setup until you're sick of it. There's a moment every serious trader hits. You found a setup that works. Clean, reliable, simple. You log win after win, and then you get bored. So you tweak it, you add a filter, you try a variation, and just like that, the edge starts bleeding. Why? Because boredom makes us reckless. But here's the truth. Boredom is the birthplace of mastery. The best traders, the ones who last 10, 20 years, don't jump setups. They marry them. They study them like biologists study insects. They see things you don't, such as microstructure behavior, liquidity patterns, and reaction times to fakeouts. Not because they're smarter, because they went deeper. And demo trading is your dojo for this. This is where you repeat the same movie 1,000 times until it becomes instinct, until you feel the rhythm of the setup before it forms. That's when your subconscious kicks in. That's when execution becomes flow. But you'll never get there if you abandon the setup every time you crave novelty. So here's the challenge. Pick one, trade nothing else. Get obsessed. Track it across times of day, track it in volatility, track it when you're tired, track how your mind tries to deviate. You're not just learning a strategy, you're learning discipline inside a constraint. Action step. Choose your highest conviction setup. Commit to 50 trades, no deviation. Journal every nuance. Did it feel weaker or stronger today? Did I hesitate more or less? What new micro patterns did I notice? Then write a mini report every 10 trades. What did I learn that I didn't know before? By the end of 50, you'll either have a weapon or a clarity to kill it. Either way, you win. Because the path to mastery is paved in monotony, and the trader who learns to love the boring edge becomes unstoppable when the real fight begins. Chapter 11. Master the 2-minute pre-trade pause. Picture this. You're about to enter a trade. Setup looks clean. Volume confirms. RSI is aligned. Your finger hovers over the button. But instead of clicking, you pause. 2 minutes. No scrolling. No second guessing. Just silence. This isn't hesitation. It's deliberate discipline. Because here's what most traders never learn. Impulse is the enemy of execution. You don't lose trades because your edge failed. You lose them because your nervous system did. The moment urgency takes over, when you feel that click now or miss out panic, your prefrontal cortex goes dark. Your brain shifts from planning to survival, from logic to lizard. And the trade you thought was clean, it becomes a blur of adrenaline and regret. That's why the 2-minute pause is sacred. It gives your brain time to regulate. It forces you to confirm. Did I follow my plan? Am I emotionally neutral? Am I rushing or reading? Action step. Install a countdown timer on your screen. Every time you find a valid trade, start the timer, sit, breathe. Don't click until it expires. Use those 120 seconds to check your stop logic, breathe deeply, and rate your emotional state. Scale 1 to 10. If your number's above 7, walk away. It's not about the trade anymore. It's about your chemistry. This pause will feel awkward at first, like dead air, like missed opportunity. But soon, it becomes your edge. Because in the world of frantic traders, the one who pauses commands clarity. And when real money's on the line, that pause might save your week. Chapter 12. Replay your trades like game film. Watch any elite athlete, NFL quarterback, UFC fighter, tennis pro, and you'll notice something. They don't just train. They watch themselves train. They study game film. They break down every move. They ask, why did I flinch there? What was I thinking? Traders should do the same. Because here's the raw truth. Most of your mistakes aren't in the setup. They're in the silence between your thoughts. The micro hesitation, the overconfidence, the moment your hand hovered over the mouse and your gut whispered, don't do it, but you clicked anyway. You'll never catch that in a journal. You'll never fix that from memory, but you can catch it on camera. Recording your demo sessions and reviewing them like game tape gives you a gift most traders never touch. Awareness of your own behavior in real time. You'll see how you breathe, how you react to red candles, how you freeze during fast moves. It's not about critique. It's about pattern recognition. Because your brain is wired for stories. And when you see yourself stumble, not just remember it, it rewires deeper. Action step. Start recording all your demo sessions, screen plus optional webcam. At the end of the week, pick 3 trades. 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 you almost took. Watch them like a coach. Mute the sound. Observe your posture, breathing, and mouse movement. Ask, did I rush? Did I hesitate? Or did I follow through with intent? Then take notes. What emotion did I not notice in the moment? You'll be shocked how much you missed. Because the game isn't played on the chart, it's played in your nervous system. Film reveals what your feelings hide. Use it, train with it, and evolve. Chapter 13. Design a red flag tracker. You don't blow up in one trade. You blow up from a sequence of ignored warnings. That FOMO scalp after a big win, the revenge trade because you missed an entry, the just one more trade after your session is over, those are red flags. And like warning lights on the dashboard, they always show up before the engine dies. But most traders miss them. Not because they're invisible, because they never track them. Here's the truth. You have tells. Every trader does. Subtle shifts in behavior that precede chaos. You skip journaling. You open TradingView during lunch. And you lower your standards slightly. The brain is a master of rationalization, but it's also a creature of patterns. If you build awareness now in demo, you can hardwire the ability to stop a breakdown before it starts. This is your early warning system. Action step. Build a red flag log. Start with a blank column in your journal. After each session, scan for any of the following. Broke time window rule. Increased size without plan. Took a trade after emotional spike. Traded out of boredom or anger. Didn't log the trade within 5 minutes. If any apply, write it down. Even just one. You're not punishing yourself. You're mapping your stress signals. After 30 trades, review. Which red flags show up most? Do they cluster around certain trades? What happens after 2 or more appear? Now create a protocol. If I log 2+ red flags in the session, I pause all trading until I complete a reset ritual. That could be 5-minute breathwork, writing a reflection, taking a walk. The power is in the pause. Because in trading, awareness is edge, and red flag tracking turns your unconscious sabotage into conscious pattern defense. Don't wait for disaster. Catch it in the whispers. Chapter 14. Give every setup a personality. You don't trade candlesticks. You trade behaviors. And behaviors have patterns, moods, reactions. So why treat your setups like lifeless algorithms when they behave more like people? Here's what the pros do that most traders never consider. They give their setups a personality. Because when you do that, you stop chasing stats and start building relationships. Think of it like dating. At first, you only notice the obvious. She's kind, he's funny. The setup looks clean, but the longer you spend time with someone or a setup, the more layers you see. It gets weird under pressure. It's moody in the mornings. It loves attention but hates commitment. Same with charts. That breakout setup you love, it might ghost you when the market's choppy. That pullback entry might flirt with your stop loss every time there's low volume. Treating your setup like a personality forces you to observe deeper. And demo is your perfect playground to build this connection. Because you're not just executing blindly, you're studying behaviors. Over time, you'll start to feel the setup chapter before it breaks down. That's edge born from pattern intimacy. Action step. Pick one setup you've traded at least 10 times. Create a persona profile for it. Name something memorable, like for example, the clean breakout or choppy Kathy. Mood. When does it behave best? What conditions mess it up? Emotional traps. What does it lure you into doing? And before each trade, say aloud, I'm trading plus setup name. I know it tends to X behavior. I will respect that. This isn't about making trading cute. It's about making patterns unforgettable. The brain remembers story better than numbers. So turn your edge into a character. Give it flaws, give it tells. You'll become more selective, more patient, more emotionally detached. Because now you're not chasing patterns. You're managing relationships. And the better you know them, the less likely they'll betray you. Chapter 15. Build anti-tilt protocols. Tilt isn't a maybe, it's a when. You will get tilted. You will break rules. You will enter revenge mode. The question is, do you have a plan for that version of you? Most traders design systems for their best days, their sharpest self, their most focused mindset. But markets punish your worst self. That's why pros build anti-tilt systems routines that catch them mid-spiral and guide them back to baseline. You don't need a guru. You need a protocol. Think like a pilot. When an engine fails, they don't guess. They follow a checklist even when adrenaline surges. You need the same. Something simple, repeatable, written before chaos hits. Because when cortisol floods your brain, you can't think. You need a script. Action step. Write your tilt protocol. Make it 3 steps. Print it, post it. Here's a template. Stand up. Walk away for 5 minutes. Do 90 seconds of breath work. Write one honest sentence. What triggered this spiral? Then and only then consider returning. And if it happens twice in a session, game over. Shut it down, walk, reflect, reset. This isn't weakness. It's edge preservation. Tilt kills traders not because they exist, but because they pretend they won't. Build for breakdown. Expect the panic. Plan your way back. Demo is the safest place to rehearse this. So rehearse it until your protocol is reflex. Because when real money's on the line and your body's in full tilt, the one who already practiced the recovery wins. Chapter 16. Use demo to test identity, not just strategy. Most traders use demo to test setups, entries, exits, risk-reward. They measure profit curves and win rates. But the deepest edge doesn't come from your system. It comes from your identity. Who do you become when you trade? That's what demo should test. Are you the sniper, the overthinker, the chameleon who adapts but loses self? Because no strategy survives self-sabotage. And no system thrives without alignment between who you are and how you trade. The pro doesn't just have a system. They have an identity that matches the system. Here's what that looks like. If your edge is slow, high conviction trend breaks, but you're impulsive, reactive, and addicted to speed, you'll break it. If your setup demands fast reflexes, but your personality is methodical and cautious, you'll hesitate. It's not personal. It's design conflict. And demo gives you the space to explore this without bleeding cash. Action step. Craft your trader identity statement. I am, state your name, and I trade like X archetype. I thrive in these conditions, and my strength is Y behavioral edge. My kryptonite is Z psychological weakness, and I counter it with this ritual or system. Example, I'm Alex, and I trade like a disciplined sniper. I thrive in quiet breakouts and avoid high volatility spikes. My kryptonite is overconfidence after wins, So I journal immediately after green days to re-anchor my mind. Read it before every session. Refine it weekly. This isn't fluff, it's alignment. Because when your trading identity clicks into your system, every move feels right. You stop forcing, you start flowing, you stop mimicking others, you start becoming you. And in a sea of strategies, that's your unfair advantage. Chapter 17. Trade 1 setup through every market move. You don't know your system until you've seen it bleed. Most traders test setups in ideal conditions, clean breakouts, trending markets, obvious signals. But markets aren't kind. They're chaotic. So if your edge only works when the sun is shining, it's not an edge. It's a fantasy. Here's the brutal truth. Your strategy must survive choppy ranges, fakeouts, volatility spikes, and boredom. And Demo gives you the arena to test this without the trauma. So stop hopping setups every week. Stop strategy shopping the moment a trade fails. Pick one. Run it through every storm. Like a scientist, like a warrior, like a professional. You need to see how it behaves in low volume, how it reacts to macro news, and what it does in Asia session versus NY Open. Because that's how confidence is built, not from the wins, from the understanding. When you've seen your setup bend but not break, you trust it. And that trust gives you emotional peace. Action step. Pick one setup. Commit to 100 demo trades. Label each trade by market condition, trending, ranging, high volatility, and low volume. Log win, loss, and emotional behavior. Did you hesitate more in choppy markets? Did you cut winners early when things got fast? Every 25 trades, run a setup stress test report. Summarize, where does it shine? Where does it crumble? Where do you crumble? This turns Demo into a pressure lab. By the end, you don't just know the setup, you know its soul. And that's when you stop reacting and start executing with quiet certainty. Because you didn't just find an edge, you forged one. Chapter 18. Create public accountability before you go pro. Most traders hide their demo journey. They don't post it, they don't talk about it, they treat it like a shadow phase, a thing to escape from. But what if demo isn't the warm-up? What if it's your mental foundation and the best time to create pressure? Because here's a truth very few face. When no one is watching, you cut corners. You rationalize. You say, this one doesn't count. You break rules because there's no visible cost. That's where public accountability changes the game. Not to flex, to sharpen. When you start sharing your demo stats, your journaling insights, your psychological patterns, you create a container for discipline. You stop hiding from inconsistency. You start seeing yourself through others' eyes. And suddenly, your behavior shifts. You want to follow the plan. Not because of fear, but because you've built integrity. You've said aloud, this is who I am. And now, you're working to match it. Action step. Start a weekly accountability thread. Reddit, Discord, Twitter, doesn't matter. Format, week number, what I tested. Wins, losses, emotional rating. Average 1 to 10. One mistake, one goal. Post it, invite feedback, commit to consistency. Over time, this does 3 things. Builds pressure that forges discipline. Attracts other serious traders to connect with. Creates an identity trail you can look back on. Because going pro isn't about flipping accounts. It's about trading in public with honesty before the money matters. Demo is where you become the trader you want to be. Accountability is how you hold that line. Chapter 19. Practice the no trade trade. Some of your most profitable decisions won't show up on the chart. They won't appear in your metrics. They won't make it to the screenshot folder because they're the trades you didn't take. The no trade is a power move. It's a moment where ego loses and discipline wins, where FOMO whispers and you ignore it. But here's the kicker. Most traders never practice this skill. They log entries, they study losses, but they never record when they wanted to trade and didn't, when they paused and watched a bad setup fail. These moments matter because they shape identity, they reinforce control, and they're the backbone of consistency. Action step. Create a no trade log. Every day, log One setup you were tempted to take but skipped. Why it didn't meet your criteria. How you felt before and after. Then, 20 minutes later, check the chart. Did it fail? Did your patience pay off? You'll begin to see it. Each no trade wasn't absence. It was presence. Presence of mind. Presence of standard. And over time, those empty spots on your blotter, they'll be the ones that saved your month. Practice that now, in demo, so it's automatic in life. Because sometimes the best trade is no trade at all. Chapter 20. Write your personal playbook while it's still quiet. Once the money's real, it's too late to think. Once size is up, emotion is up. And when emotion spikes, memory fails. That's why pros don't remember how to trade they reference. They've built a playbook, a living document that captures every rule, nuance, and insight that shapes their execution. Not just setups, not just entries, but what to avoid when tired, what their best days feel like. The exact checklist before every session. This isn't overkill. It's psychological automation. Because when the chaos hits, you don't need more motivation. You need a page that tells you, this is who you are. This is what you do. Follow this. And the best time to build it? In demo. When the noise is low. When the capital risk is zero. When your nervous system is calm enough to observe. Action step. Start your trader playbook. Organize it by category. Set up templates with screenshot examples. Pre-trade routine. Emotional rules. What to do when X happens. Tilt protocols. Self-talk scripts for fear, greed, and regret. Trade review format. And weekly reset checklist. Update it weekly. Make it sacred. Don't let it become a someday document. Make it your operating manual. Because when real money is flying, you won't rise to the level of your ambitions. You'll fall to the level of your preparation. Your playbook is the floor you stand on. Build it now, so it catches you when the fire comes. Climax. You've just spent the last hour inside a dojo. Not a YouTube video, not a motivational montage. A dojo where your future self was carved one demo rep at a time. Now, pause. Every emotional storm you'll face in live trading, you've already rehearsed. The spike in heart rate, you felt it. The urge to overtrade, you named it. The pull to tweak your stop, you resisted it. And you did it when no one was watching. You did it when there was no profit to chase, no leaderboard to post to, no follower count to grow. You showed up in silence and became something louder than FOMO, unshakable. Because here's the secret most traders never learn. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your identity. And in demo, that identity is forged. Not by luck, not by charts, but by choice. Every skipped over trade, every deep breath before a fake out, every journal entry when you wanted to rage quit. You stacked bricks. You poured the concrete. You didn't just learn to trade. You became a trader. Let that truth settle into your nervous system. You are no longer guessing who you are. You've trained it. You've tested it. And when the market tests you, you won't flinch. You'll recognize, this is the path. This is the proof. And this is only the beginning. You made it through, not just the video, not just the list. You made it through the mental gauntlet most traders never face. You looked in the mirror. You studied your reactions. You journaled when it felt pointless. And now, you're not guessing anymore. You're building. Because here's the truth. Every elite trader you admire trained in silence before they performed in noise. They built playbooks before profits. They tracked boredom before breakthroughs. They celebrated skipped trades more than big wins. And now, so do you. So here's what to do next. Subscribe to this channel because we don't just drop videos, we drop psychological weapons every week. Like this video if a single chapter hit you hard. Comment below. What's one chapter you're going to implement this week in your demo? Share this with a trader who's still struggling silently. Be the mirror they need. If you want to go deeper in future videos, we'll show you how to catch self-sabotage in under 3 seconds. Build a journaling habit that reveals your edge. Design your emotional regulation plan for live trading. This is just the beginning. Because here at Disciplined Trades, we don't just teach you how to trade. We rewire your brain so you never trade the same again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for training with us. Now go build your edge. See you in the next one.